My name is Nicky Weaver, and I've been part of the YWCA for many years. The biggest obstacle of my life probably was when I had polio as a kid. I was in the hospital and then home for a year out of school. And I think it taught me a lot of compassion because the people that were in the hospital with me were so much worse than I was. It made me realize that I had to overcome a disability and move on with my life, and I was challenged more physically than others of my friends. And so I think it's taught me patience. I became less competitive, although I'm sure my friends will say that I'm just as competitive as I ever was. But I really do think that it had an impact. Later in life, I was married to someone who had multiple sclerosis, and I think having had that opportunity to understand what it was to be disabled sort of helped me get through that too. My first husband and I spent time on the capital campaign committee for the domestic violence shelter and realized that this was a whole area that I was so unfamiliar with and couldn't believe that there were actually families that had this happen to them. And so I sort of came up with the idea that if I could get 100 women to provide money for these women in the domestic violence shelter on an annual basis, that this would help in their survival and their stability and everything else. So that's how I got into it, and then I became very passionate about it. Well, I think the best thing that I've ever been a part of was burning the mortgage for the YWCA domestic violence shelter. We raised $2.5 million, and this was done by women and some corporations, and it was done right before the recession. So we were very blessed in that respect. I feel like we really made an impact and brought the awareness level up of domestic violence. I've been often labeled, and particularly tagged by my children and others, as being opinionated. But I feel like having an opinion gives you a voice. It allows you to say something and create a dialogue with those around you. Obviously, being able to present your opinion is important. Being able to listen to opinions of others is very important. And so, even though it's a negative, can be a negative connotation, I don't feel that I've used it in that respect.